Welcome to today's show. Trump has dropped some bombshell news today. I'm telling you, we've got a whole list of the clips you're about to see, and you're going to love it. Some of the biggest ones where Trump proposes U.S. statehood for Canada and Mexico, actually making them states within the United States because of how much money we subsidize them with almost $500 billion. On top of that, Trump says that he will most likely pardon Capitol rioters. We say protesters on day one. Says January 6th committee members should be jailed. Guys, this is huge bombshell news. On top of that, we've got a lot more because guess what? They said that now that Trump is saying like, hey, we can make Canada and Mexico a state, him and Johnson are actually looking into it of like what the legal parameters would be. Because again, too, it always goes back to the money. If we're almost subsidizing them with almost $500 billion a year, then why don't they just become part of the United States? Because he said their economies would not be able to run without us. We now have it where Biden has now issued to Ukraine another $1 billion in aid, people. Another $1 billion. And everybody's like, but didn't Johnson say that he wasn't going to push through any more money? Well, guess what? He's using the Department of Defense's money now. This is why they don't want Pete Hegseth in as the Secretary of Defense, because he wouldn't allow this. But the Pentagon hasn't passed an audit in the past 7 years, but Biden just okays another $1 billion taxpayer money to Ukraine. Trump has also officially dropped this bombshell news because everybody's been asking about this. He literally said, I'm not going to investigate Joe Biden. What he did in the past is in the past. I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to make sure that the country is successful, which is mind-blowing. But that doesn't mean that Jim Jordan or Kash Patel is not going to investigate Biden, because they said that they would. We also have it where Trump says that on day one, he's going to, again, pardon the January 6th protesters. He's going to end birthright citizenship, raise the minimum federal wage. He said that we may exit NATO because they aren't treating the United States fair. He said that he's going to have the Department of Justice investigate the 2020 election because he believes that there was massive fraud, and we have the receipts to prove it. We literally have it out of the Census Bureau's director's mouth that he admitted to counting illegals in the 2020 census, allowing for more electoral votes to be given to blue states. It's all corrupt. We got it for you today. A ton of breaking news. You're going to love it. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help to grow the channel. And thank you so much to everybody who's a member of the channel. Y'all are so amazing. If you want to join the TrueLife News family, the link is in the description to join. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation, guys. You are so amazing. In a couple weeks, we're going to be doing the biggest donation ever on channel, live stream, giving to a charity, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Lily O'Brien, already for giving a super chat. Y'all show Lily some love in the chat, everybody. But guys, this is bombshell news, what you're about to hear. All the top clips of what's happened over Trump's interview, I got them for you to save you time. Check this out.
Sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No. No, why would I do that? But let me just say, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president, I'm not. And he has been a divider. And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me. He went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they are going around stealing elections, why
when you
didn't
say
they
Democrats have control now
of the White House?
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
Because I think it was too big to rig.
Boom.
So you won't.
Too big to rig.
To the people who say that you're now directing your Justice Department to investigate 2020 and they want to move on.
Very capable.
Is that
I think Pam is going to be great.
Precious resources.
By the way,
is that what you want them to do?
Just so you know, I have the right to do that, but I'm not interested in that.
Oh, you're not. You're not going to do that.
I'm not interested.
Okay.
I have the absolute right. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. You do know that. I'm the president. But I'm not interested in that. You know what I'm interested in? Drilling and getting prices down and stopping people from pouring into our border that come from prisons and mental institutions.
I asked you last time we sat down for an interview if you were going to pardon yourself. You said no. But now that President Biden has pardoned his son, Hunter, are you reconsidering? Might you pardon yourself?
I didn't do anything wrong. I was given the option. And the lawyers told me, a very specific lawyer, I don't have to go into who, but very high up in the administration said, sir, if you pardon yourself, you're going to look guilty.
Yep.
And you did nothing wrong. Oh, I had that option. I could have saved myself a lot of legal fees, but it turned out that I was right. Look at what's gone on. Everything's being dropped. I still have a Fani Willis, a total hoax. That's a total hoax. It's all being dropped.
Are you going to fire the current FBI director, Christopher Wray, who you appointed?
Well, I can't say I'm thrilled with him. He invaded my home. I'm suing the country over it. He invaded Mar-a-Lago. I'm very unhappy with the things he's done. And crime is at an all-time high. Migrants are pouring into the country that are from prisons and from mental institutions, as we've discussed. I can't say I'm thrilled. I don't want to be Joe Biden and give you an answer and then do the exact opposite.
We're going to talk about
so
that.
I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to say is I certainly cannot be happy with him. You take a look at what's happened. And then when I was shot in the ear, he said, "Oh, maybe it was shrapnel." Where's the shrapnel coming from? Is it coming from heaven? I don't think so. So,
oh man,
we need somebody to straighten. I have a lot of respect for the FBI, but the FBI's respect has gone way down over the last number of years.
Don't you have to fire him in order to make room for Kash Patel if he is in fact confirmed?
Well, I mean, it would sort of seem pretty obvious that if Kash gets in, he's going to be taking somebody's place, right? And somebody is the man that you're talking about.
The federal minimum wage has been $7.25 since 2009. There are 20 states that still have the federal minimum wage at $7.25, and I actually have a map. 19 of these states actually voted for you, sir. Mm-hmm. And you can see it right here. I don't know if you remember this, but during the debate in 2020, I asked you if you would raise the minimum wage. You said you would consider it. And so my question for you is, now that you are going back to the White House.
Let's go.
For these 19 states that voted for you, are you going to raise the federal
It's a very low
wage?
number. I will agree. It's a very low number. Let me give you the downside, though.
Yeah.
In California, they raised it up to a very high number. And your restaurants are going out of business all over the place. The population is shrinking. It's had a very negative impact. But there is a level at which you could do it, absolutely.
What is that level?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
$8.50.
I can say this. You have a lot of businesses that are open and thriving because of the lower minimum wage. If you raise it too much, and you understand this, if California went crazy, they went crazy. And the restaurants are closing all over. Many more people are hurt.
So I hear you saying, similarly to sort of what you said in 2020, will you consider? Is this something you're going to look at?
I'd want to speak to the governors. And the other thing that's very complicated about minimum wages is places are so different. Mississippi and Alabama and great places are very different than New York or California. I mean, in terms of the cost of living and other things. So it would be nice to have just a minimum wage for the whole country, but it wouldn't work because you have places where it's very inexpensive to live, where a minimum wage, which is at $8 or $9, might have very little effect because the cost of living in certain places is really low.
Let me ask you about some of your other promises on this topic. You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
We're going to have to get a change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it. We're the only country that has it.
Through an executive action?
You know, we're the only country that has it. Do you know, if somebody sets a foot, just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need to, on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, we're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Through executive action?
Well, if we can, through executive action. I was going to do it through executive action, but then we had to fix COVID first, to be honest with you. We have to end it.
Let's talk.
I'm going to look at everything. We're going to look at individual cases, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to be acting very quickly.
Within your first 100 days, first day?
First day.
First day.
Yeah, I'm looking first day.
Issue these pardons.
These people have been there, how long is it, 3 or 4 years?
Okay.
You know, by the way, they've been in there for years, and they're in a filthy, disgusting place that shouldn't even be allowed to be open. We're subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion. We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state.
Ooh.
We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fast, but fair playing field.
Yes. Level, fast, fair. And that's just like what he said, everybody, about NATO. The NATO has not been fair to the United States. We've been carrying the load, and then everybody's been taking advantage of us. But this is, Trump said that he's most likely going to pardon Capitol rioters on day one. Also, some breaking news that came out was this. Trump says that he will not investigate Joe Biden. I'm not looking to go back into the past. Retribution will be through success. Let me know what your thoughts are, because again, too, Biden weaponized it 100% to go after Trump. And if Trump doesn't go after Biden, I feel like it should 100% change a lot of things, because everybody said that Trump was going to do this and Trump was going to do that. But it's Biden and the Democrats who are using lawfare for their own good, just like this. Check this out.
President Biden might go on a last-minute pardon spree before leaving the White House. Dr. Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, Adam Schiff, and Liz Cheney have all been widely reported as speculated individuals who could receive pardons. As of now, there is no evidence any of these individuals have requested pardons or committed crimes. Fox has reached out for comments from the White House, Schiff, Cheney, Milley, and Fauci, but have not yet heard back. Schiff recently told NPR that he is not interested in a blanket pardon from Biden. Here's what the White House had to say about this yesterday.
I'm not going to get ahead of the president, but what I can say is that the president is reviewing other pardons and commutations. I'm not going to get into get ahead of the president. I'm just not going to get into specifics of what we're going to do, not do. I'm not going to get ahead of the president. There's a process. The president's going to go through it. I'm not going to get ahead of him. He's going to make announcements on pardons and commutations.
Now, at least one Democrat is suggesting for Biden to pardon Trump.
So I think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump, that was political as well, too. A pardon is appropriate. We cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents.
Okay, so, Jason, the Constitution gives the president this power. This is different. What they're talking about, this blanket pardon for unknown crimes.
No, we haven't seen anything quite like this. I think those most likely to potentially be on the list are Biden family members, because if you look at James Biden, the other Bidens, and what James Comer has said about them, he's the chairman of the Oversight Committee, he's done a deep research on this. Those are the people that I think are in jeopardy, because there are literally millions of dollars that have flowed overseas that ended up in the Biden's bank accounts. And when investigators are able to actually go and get away from Merrick Garland and get to a Pam Bondi and a Kash Patel and actually look at those documents, and then congressional investigators can look through those documents, that's where I think there's more vulnerability potentially for Biden family members, at least according to James Comer.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see. But, Conch, you know, the reporting that came out on this from Politico was that it actually wasn't the president who was in these conversations. It was the people around him. And at first, that hit me as so weird. I thought, really? He's not in the conversations? And then I thought, maybe it's not so weird.
That's been the case for about 4 years now, right? Other people have been running this country that we don't even know about. They're faceless people. John Fetterman, God bless that guy. He is the voice of reason now for the Democratic Party. Yeah. He's the only one that goes forward and says the New York trial of Trump was politicized. You would think some other leaders would come forward and say, you know, that's right, and let's turn the page and move on. No, it's not happening. So John Fetterman, 2028, watch out for that guy, because he actually is making sense when Democrats are running and hiding with these preemptive pardons. I've never heard anything like this before, Nicole.
You know, actually, Joe, I agree. I think that Senator Fetterman, I'm shocked by him this entire year and have been wholly impressed by him, not just in this instance, by a lot of things that he's talking about.
Israel, yeah.
I will certainly say that we can't take the White House at its word about what they're going to do for pardons, because they've already blatantly lied about pardoning Joe Biden's son. But what I'll say is, you know, let him pardon who he's going to pardon. At the end of the day, there's still going to be investigations. Specifically, I'm looking forward into some of the COVID investigations to seeing, you know, what was known, what was kept secret. Maybe they will have blanket pardons, but we still can get information, and it can be made publicly available. The people deserve to know.
Yep,
yes.
It's going to be a very...
The people deserve to know, guys, because I'm telling you this, whatever the heck Biden is doing, whoever's pulling the strings, it's people need to know what the heck is going on, because look at this. Biden administration announces U.S. is sending another $988 million to Ukraine. This is the official document. Guys, where's this coming from? The Department of Defense. Can't do it through Congress anymore, which they're supposed to. Tried to do it through FEMA. And he even said, too, because I have another article to show you that if they need to send more, they are going to use FEMA disaster relief funds to go to Ukraine. But it's crazy that they're freaking finding so many ways to send our hard-earned taxpayer dollars new security assistance package to Ukraine, to these other countries, and we still can't take care of people in the United States. On top of that, I just got to show you this, guys, because Donald Trump, this guy is such a troll. It's hilarious sometimes. He's not afraid to do it. This is literally what he posted. This is a truth he posted. Here's my new perfumes and colognes. I call them Fight, Fight, Fight because they represent us winning. Great Christmas gifts for the family. Go to this. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And then look at the picture. And at the bottom, a fragrance your enemies can't resist. Guys, I'm telling you, what a troll. Thank you so much, B1 Sly One, for gifting a True Life News membership. And Christine Engler for gifting 10 True Life News memberships. Let's go. Y'all show them some love in the chat, everybody. But again, too, that's why Trump is doubling down. On day one, he is dropping bombshell news, bombshell executive actions to take effect immediately, just like this.
Reporters are Tom Homan. Tom, it's great to have you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. First, your reaction to what you're hearing from Mayor Adams, wanting to meet with you now. A bit of a 360 there, isn't it?
Yeah, but, you know, I'm pleased. I'll be meeting with him Thursday, and I hope we can partner on making New York City a safer community. President Trump's been clear we're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats. So I'm not surprised that Mayor Adams coming to the table, because I think his number one responsibility is protection of his communities. I'm shocked that other mayors and other governors who want to, put roadblocks up. I can't believe any elected official does not want to remove public safety threats from their communities. But we're going to do it with them or without them. We're going to get this done.
Tom, we just saw this report from the New York Post that said that 58,000 illegal criminals are running around in New York right now. And that they've already been convicted of crimes. Tell me about that group. Is that correct? 58,000 people who are gang members, many of whom belong to this gang, Tren de Aragua, who is incredibly dangerous in New York right now, and another hundreds of thousands of them throughout America?
Yeah, but the number's low. Like we only know what we have reports on, we have information on. Remember, a lot of these sanctuary cities, when they book a foreign national in their jail, many of these sanctuary cities don't even ask them their nationality in fear that ICE will get their hands on information. So you can guarantee there's at least 58,000 and more. And as far as trained to Iowa, they're going to be a major priority of the Trump administration. President Trump has made that promise. And we'll be concentrating on them right out of the gate. Them, MS-13, and other criminal elements.
Tell me how you're going to do this, Tom. What's the plan? Are you expecting to use the military to round up these people? How will you get them out of the country?
Well, look, first of all, I want to make something clear to exactly what we're going to do. For all these sanctuary cities pushing back, San Diego's writing legislation. You know, you got Colorado and other states and other cities saying they're going to prevent us doing what I'm doing. I want to send them a clear message. If you let us in the jail, we can arrest a bad guy in the jail. Yes. In the safety and security of a jail. One officer could do that. But when you release a public safety threat back in the community, you put the community at risk, you put my officers at risk, you put the alien at risk. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to release that guy in the community, I'm going to send an entire team to go look for the guy in your community. And what's going to happen? We'll find that guy, and when we find that guy, there's probably going to be others that are not a priority. However, if they're in the country illegally, they'll be arrested too, because we're not going to tell an immigration officer like this Biden administration did that you're going to turn your back on a known immigration illegal. When you're an immigration officer, you have an oath to uphold. So you are forcing us into the community at large numbers where other non-priority aliens will be arrested. That's a result, the exact result you don't want. So let us in the jail. It's safer for everybody. And it's the right thing to do to secure your communities. What we're going to do, Maria, we're going to target, like I say, public safety threats and national security threats. We're going to send agents out on day one. We're already working on targeting. DOD, they've helped every administration. We would like DOD to help us in a lot of areas in transportation and infrastructure building, intelligence and targeting. But a sworn immigration officer with immigration authority will be making those arrests.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's great about the incoming administration is that all of you are on the same page. So you can be grabbing resources, I assume, and conversations from, like you said, defense, intelligence to actually get the job done. Is that right? Are you coordinating on a whole of government officials throughout different agencies to ensure that you can secure the border and send these illegal criminals back?
Absolutely. I've been working very closely with Steve Miller. You know, Steve Miller was the architect of the first Trump administration with unprecedented success. We're talking about bringing everybody to the game. Other law enforcement agencies, DOD. I had to shut down my LinkedIn account because I got thousands of retired ICE agents, retired Border Patrol agents, retired police officers, retired military that want to come and do this job and make America safe again. There will be no lack of resources, but as your first segment was talking about, we need the money. We need the money to have more detention beds and more on-the-ground transportation and to conduct these operations. So I'm hoping the Hill see the light and give us the money we need to keep President Trump's promise, the mandate the American people gave him, and secure this nation, secure the border, and remove the illegal aliens from this country who are not supposed to be here. Even though we got a prioritization on public safety threats and national security threats, I want to be clear. If you're in the country illegally, you got a problem. Especially if you're a fugitive that had due process at great taxpayer expense. You were ordered removed by a federal judge. You went into hiding? No, we're going to be looking for you too. So this is going to be a huge operation. I'm looking forward to getting it started. I haven't started the operation yet, but I've already worked with the Texas governor on the plans and Texas border czar. I'm working with Mayor Adams. I met with hundreds of sheriffs the other day. The National Sheriff's Association is ready to go to work with us. So January 20th, game on.
So game on is right. Look, how much money do you need? Stephen Miller said that he told me you need between $80 and $100 billion for the border alone.
Wow.
Do you believe you're going to need reconciliation for that? Can you just get that in January or February to conduct what you need to conduct?
Well, $86 billion a minimum. We're going to need as much money as Congress can get us because, look, right now what they're doing, they spend billions of dollars on releasing illegal aliens in this country, billions of dollars to NGOs to put an alien in a hotel room at $500 a night when we got empty ICE beds, $127 a night. They're getting free hotel rooms, free meals, free medical care. What they're spending right now in the billions of dollars in perpetuity. This operation is going to be expensive to begin with, but in the long run, it's going to be a huge tax savings for the American taxpayer. fair.
Yes, of course, and life-saving. Tom, real quick, I've been to the border at least 5 times. I saw up close and personal how these young kids are being used, exploited by the drug cartels, making believe they're part of a family when they don't even know the kids. We saw pieces the other day where a 2-year-old was apprehended, a 10-year-old was apprehended. What happens in terms of the drug cartels and their business? They use kids to get them through the border, and then do they force them to pay money to the drug cartels while they're living in America? How does it work?
Absolutely. We had over 500,000 children trafficked in this country, smuggled in this country by criminal cartels. This administration can't even find 340,000 of them that they released to unvetted sponsors. And we're going to try to find these kids and rescue them, but you're exactly right. Many of these kids are in forced labor to pay off their smuggling fees, which they'll never pay off, and many of them are in forced sex slavery. So President Trump is committed to finding these children. We got to do it and save these children and get them back to their families. We'll let the immigration consequences follow that, but we got to save many of these children who are living a day of hell every day because this administration let them come into the country at a 500,000 number and they release them to unvetted sponsors, which we're going to find out. Many of them are predators. Many of them are traffickers and forced labor syndicates. So this is another rail of priority President Trump has promised the American people.
Unbelievable. Tom.
Guys, I'm telling you this. When I see this, a part of me is like, I kind of want Trump to go after Biden because, again, too, when you let in over 10 million illegal immigrants and all those people are getting multi-$100 billion worth of taxpayer money, kids being trafficked, we've lost over 300,000 kids, have no idea where they're at. And just like Tom Homan said, that a lot of them are sex trafficked and they're put into, labor and whatnot. It's sick. And it didn't have to happen, but they allowed it to happen. I wanted to show you this. This is a funny meme that I meme, therefore I am post almost every week, where Pentagon is sending Ukraine another $1 billion in long-term security aid. It says 0 days since Biden has sent American taxpayers money to Ukraine. I actually wanted to show you too, because again too, it's not just me about reporting the news. I want you to hear it for yourself from the Secretary of Defense that's currently right now. Listen to this.
And I'm proud to announce today the commitment of a new Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative package worth nearly $1 billion.
Guys, they can't help but keep giving our dang money away. Taxpayer money is way worth $36 trillion. So think about it. Every time we give money away, we have to borrow that money and pay interest on it. And what's worst about it is that it was all by design, letting these immigrants in. With what you're about to see next, in Congress, they have officially caught the director of Census Bureau in the lies, in the cheating, and the scandals of using illegals for the Democratic, moving the Democratic Party forward. Check this out.
As Ms. Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Santos, for being here with us today. The U.S. Census Bureau carries out the important constitutional duty of conducting the decennial census as required in Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution, as you very well know. The census has far-ranging consequences, determining the apportionment of congressional seats, electoral college votes states receive, and the flow of hundreds of billions of dollars in federal funding to states and localities. The Census Bureau's post-enumeration survey for the 2020 census identified serious over and under counting issues, which the Bureau has acknowledged are worse than previous censuses. Even more troubling, the Census Bureau's report acknowledges a statistically significant overcount in liberal Northeast states and a statistically significant undercount in conservative Southern states. The 1790 Census Act, which the left likes to use as an excuse to count illegals and residents.
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I hope you caught that. That they literally caught that the Census Bureau was overcounting in the Democratic states, and in the red states, they were undercounting them to give them less electoral votes, because the census is all tied to the electoral college map, which is tied to the presidential election and who gets the amount of votes to win it.
and whatever the heck you want to call people in this country who aren't citizens, that women were counted, but they couldn't vote. No, they couldn't vote, but women were citizens of the United States. So the left, that's their reasoning for counting illegals in the census, and that sort of thing. So I have a series of questions for you, Mr. Santos, that are yes or no. And so I would ask that you use yes or no when I ask these questions. Did the U.S. Census Bureau do anything to identify the immigration or citizenship status of individuals surveyed during the 2020 census, yes or no?
No.
Are illegals counted in the census, yes or no?
Yes, if they're permanent residents, if they reside in the U.S.
Okay, so when you're doing the census with folks and asking the question, you're asking them if, you're not asking them if they're a citizen, you're asking, do you ask if they're a permanent resident?
We ask folks to list everyone who lives at that residence.
Okay, but you're saying you're only counting illegals if they're a permanent resident.
Oh, if they live at that residence. It's the interpretation of the instructions.
So your definition of permanent residence is that they live at a place in the U.S., at a U.S. address.
Yes, I believe I misspoke because there's a legal definition to permanent, to permanent resident. It's someone who usually lives at that address.
So I'm going to ask the question again. Are illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens, the people that break the law coming into our country when they enter in the door illegally, are they counted in the U.S. Census, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Are there political implications for congressional apportionment and the Electoral College when we're counting non-citizens, when we're counting illegals, criminal illegal aliens in the census, yes or no?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of the question.
Are there political implications for congressional apportionment and the Electoral College when you are counting criminal illegal aliens in the U.S. Census?
I do not know.
Oh, you absolutely know. Because apportionment is based on what? Is it based on what? Population?
Yes.
Population based on counts in the what? U.S. Census?
Correct.
All right. You're the director of the U.S. Census Bureau, correct?
Correct.
Why is this so difficult for you to answer honestly?
Well, no, it is what it is. So if there's more population,
what is
then
what it is? You just said you didn't know if there were political implications for congressional apportionment and the Electoral College when you're counting illegals.
In all honesty, I am not a politician. I'm a scientist. And so we do our counts according to the Constitution.
Mr. Science.
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
When you're doing apportionment, we're doing congressional seats based on population that includes illegal aliens. Does that have a political impact in campaigns when you're drawing those lines and having people vote in those elections?
They are counted in apportionment, yes.
Yes.
Okay. You're not being honest this morning, and I think it's a slap in the face to the American people. If apportionment of congressional seats is based on the census and roughly 750,000 people per congressional seat in this country, would that unfairly impact how congressional seats are drawn, yes or no?
I'm sorry, you're speaking too fast for me. Can you slow down a little bit?
No, I can't. The answer is yes. In California, in Valadeo's district, where 750,000 people live in that district, 167,000 people voted in that election. I would imagine, and number one, Gavin Newsom's probably still counting because the guy can't do math 3 weeks, 4 weeks into post an election. But 167,000 people out of 750,000 population. In my district, 390,000 people voted. We don't have the number of illegals that California has statistically, scientifically, Mr. Science. That's just the math. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Guys, that's why I'm telling you, it was so important for us to win this election. It was so important that Elon Musk spent $277 million, a quarter of $1 billion to back Trump and Republican candidates because you just heard it. Do you count illegals in the census? Yes. Does the census determine the amount of seats in Congress? Yes. Why? Are you kidding me? This is again too. Does the census determine the amount of electoral votes that a state has? Yes. Wow. Outright cheating. Outright just blatant corruptness that the Democrats, they're okay with. You know why? Because they literally will not put the dang question and answer on the census of, are you an American citizen? On the census. They won't ask it. They'll ask you if you're mentally ill or not. They'll ask you if you own your home or not. They'll ask you if you own a car or not. All these other questions they're okay with, but when it comes to U.S. citizenship, they don't want to ask this. Why? Because they know they're trying to use the corruptness. And that's why this guy right here I'm about to show you is so important, because he's going to go after all this corruptness. Check it out.
Put in the work, not for you or I. We put in the work for America to show them what to do, and we put it on the main screen. And here's a couple of key takeaways. I'm a huge proponent of personnel. Personnel is how you take on any corrupt apparatus in Washington, D.C., because they are the ones in Washington, D.C., these government gangsters, implementing these corrupt, weaponized system of justice, intelligence, and defense. And what you need is sweeping personnel changes in the leadership structures of the agencies that we've been talking about, Steve, for what, 10 years now? And we've given example after example. And what you have to do is, in my opinion, is take not one at a time, take them all at once. Boom. And with the Senate package that came in last night, and with maybe another even 1 or 2 possible more seats, Steve, I think what you do is you move forward all of your personnel packages in unison, because you now have the numbers to support a President Trump agenda. And hopefully Congress, as you said, it's a multifaceted effort. It's not just the executive branch. You got to go in there and be working with Congress, the Senate, and the House to implement constitutional oversight so they can expose the corruption of the agencies and departments that they've been overseeing. They need to release those documents. And if you want to put it in Truth and Transparency Office, that's fine. It was one of our recommendations in Government Gangsters. But the DOJ and FBI need to be reporting back to the committees of jurisdiction, where the Republicans need strong chairmen and women to go out there and say, not only are these subpoenas valid and effective immediately, you will return them. Otherwise, we will utilize the Constitution to service the American people's desire to have constitutional oversight of these committees. It has to be a multi-part effort. And we haven't even gotten to the judiciary, but I'll leave that for Mike Davis. But this is how we won Russiagate. We not only used Congress, we used the White House. We use the power of educating the American public with the corruption author's own documents from FBI and DOJ. And it can be done.
Guys, this is the same guy who proved that the Russian collusion that they tried to pin on President Donald Trump was fake. This is the same guy. That's why Trump picked him, because he knows he can get things done. He also knows, too, that right now, if you didn't know, they're still counting votes for the last seat in California for the House of Representatives. It's been over a month since Election Day, and we're still counting votes. You can't tell me. It's not like they got 300 million people living in that one district. It's all corrupt, guys. It's all corrupt from the very beginning. We got a slim majority, and I want you to hear what the plan is, because, again, too, with the slim majority that we have, we've got to get things done in the first 2 years as fast as possible. Check this out.
Kevin McCarthy. Speaker McCarthy, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good to see you, Maria.
Well, let's talk about what is about to take place. I feel like it's deja vu all over again with a slim majority here in the House. You've been listening to our conversations about putting the tax cut plan later on in the year. Your reaction?
Well, that's all doable, but it is all doable if it depends how this year ends. Because right now it doesn't look like they're going to finish this year's funding and they're going to push that into next year's funding. So what that means is you're putting more burden on President Trump. You're not giving him the honeymoon. So that means government funding they never got done this year, and they got to get that done by next March. Well, if they're worried on that, that delays everything else. Not doing the border and the tax doesn't delay anything. It's that funding. What the plan I had is you got the funding done, and you could actually do the debt ceiling now, too, to truly give President Trump a honeymoon. Remember, when you reconstitute a new Congress, you have to constitute committees. He has to confirm his cabinet. But if you're bogged down with doing funding, which was during Biden's time, that's taking away President Trump's opportunity to have a honeymoon and put his policies in place.
So do you expect this agenda to get done the way Stephen Miller just lined it out?
It very well can do. I expect that to get done. That's just the way President Trump works. But you're actually handicapping President Trump by not doing your job of the funding of this year and pushing it into next year. You're giving him more problems and instead of letting him look to the future and get things moving in a more rapid way.
Why is it so?
And you have a smaller majority going forward. Remember that. And remember why President Trump won. It was the economy. It was border. It was energy. And the foreign policy. And let him do that job instead of worrying about funding that happened last year.
Why is it so tough to get the funding done? Why isn't the funding done and that they have to push it into the first quarter of next year?
Well, you'd have to ask the current leadership. I mean, I don't think it's difficult to do. I think they can get a deal, and I think it'd be very important to help President Trump have that honeymoon to make sure he could get his agenda through and get all that done. Do not burden him with the Biden-era problems and let him govern the way the American public wants him to.
Kevin, what is your opinion or reaction to President Trump initially naming Matt Gaetz as the AG?
Well, no one thought that would pass. I blame Matt Gaetz for lying to the president about his ethics report. People know that that's why he made the motion against me. People know that's why he's not capable of even staying in Congress. He needed an excuse to resign because the ethics report would be done in a couple days, and that's unfortunate. But it's a better Congress today of where they're going forward.
Well, you just heard Stephen Miller say that this is going to be President Trump's biggest domestic policy win in 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, think about what President Trump can do on the first day, his executive orders, his rolling back on the regulations. You're already seeing it on a foreign policy basis, just watching his presence bring greater stability to the world and safer. But what you really want to know is, can the next 50 years be the American century? Because what you want to do here is, whoever captures AI and quantum has the best ability. But no country can do that unless they get their energy policy right. And that's where President Trump is correct. And look at the bright minds that he's bringing in, having Elon and others to actually counsel him in the best ways to go. He knows how to do the job. This is a much different President Trump when he first came into office. He knows where the swamp is and how to clean that up, but more importantly, how to govern and the world leaders. Everybody's waiting him to get on stage. That's why I just think it's a mistake.
Real quick, everybody, sorry to interrupt. Do y'all think McCarthy is a rhino? I'm kind of half and half. More like 75-25, 75% that he is a rhino. Let me know your thoughts.
If Congress pushes the funding they should have already got done onto the president, let him do his job, let him put out his agenda that he's trying to do, because we know he'll work each and every day for it.
Well, this is a great point that you're making, and I'm glad you brought up AI and quantum, because these are two areas that China wants to lead on, and they're actively undermining America. You started the China Select Committee, putting these issues front and center in Congress. Tell me what should be done there, because just last week, China threatened that it's going to stop sending us the important critical materials that are needed for those very areas, AI and quantum. I know you're starting a think tank called Alpha, that you're also going to be taking these things on, but what do you want to say about Communist China and the way President Trump should deal with that?
Well, thank God that President Trump won again, because we can deal with China now. That's exactly why I created the Select Committee on China. Because what's the problem here is, if you watch, China controls 90% of our critical minerals, 95% of the processing of critical minerals, 50% of our medical supply. We are too dependent on China. And you have done a lot of great work on this, showing the American public about this. But why I've created the Alpha Institute is I take the experience from AI, the issues I worked on, from China, from defense. We got to reform our Defense Department. Energy. We'll never capture AI unless we get energy correct. And we need to expand our grid. That means all the above. And then when you look at our healthcare and you look at space, these are all the issues about the future. And that's why I take the experience that I had in the private sector, as well as in the public sector, marriage those together to bring out the policies to help govern here, giving the ideas to those goes and elected. If they're bogged down looking at not tomorrow but yesterday's funding, they're really not looking at the next 100 years. So how can we enhance that? And you watch the Select Committee on China being so successful, even bipartisan in our ideas, putting America in the right track, and now having a Trump administration putting those policies together can really put us in a place where the next century is the American century.
Great point. It's great to see you this morning. Thank you so
Guys,
much.
Let me tell you this. The amount of stuff that's being uncovered right now, guys, you're not going to believe what I'm about to show you next. Because this right here, to me, is exactly why we need RFK in his position. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't like him. He seems a little crazy here and there. What you're about to hear next is straight from Congress. It's straight from the people over the FDA and what is going on with our food. And I'm telling you, it's really troubling. Thank you so much, Joe DeVito, for the super chat. Let's go. Said, thanks for all your hard work to keep us updated so we know exactly what's going on day to day. I got you, Joe. Y'all show Joe some love in the chat, everybody. Guys, check this out.
About Red 3 and Red 40.
Red 3 and Red 40. And if you didn't know, Red 3, Red 40, it's in a lot of foods. It's in a lot of drinks that we have here in the United States. They're just like chemicals that they put in to make it, the color.
Both of you, and get your comments on this. It's not a conservative or a liberal standpoint. I think we all need to understand as a group about how we've gotten to this point. The FDA has a position that food colorings like 40 are safe for a kid's ingestion. Do both of you stand behind that, Dr. Caleb?
I'm going to refer that to Mr. Jones.
Okay.
We have not evaluated Red 40 in over a decade. Over a decade ago,
we have not.
We have not. At FDA, we have not evaluated the safety of Red 40 in over a decade. So over a decade, that was the conclusion that FDA made.
But we have evaluated. We are in the process of evaluating Red 3, and you may want to comment on that.
Well, right. let me say this. Red 3 has been known to cause cancer in cosmetics, but we still allow it to be put in our food. I don't understand that. Go ahead.
So Red 3, we have a petition in front of us to revoke the authorization for it, and we are hopeful that within the next few weeks we will be acting on that petition, and a decision should be forthcoming.
Tell us that process. How does that work? The timeline, if we know something's deadly for anybody that ingests it, how do we continue to just study that and not say, hey, enough's enough?
So Red 3 presents an interesting example for us. It is actually known to be cancer in laboratory animals, rats, but the scientific consensus is that the mechanism of carcinogenicity in rats is not applicable in humans. However,
guys, let me tell you this. If this Red 3 gives cancer to a freaking rat or a pig or whatever, I'm not putting that in my body, and neither should you. And this is the type of crap that, for whatever reason, the FDA has not banned it yet. But let me give you this, because I bring the receipts. Red 3, it's in candy corn, Nerds, Peeps, Pez, Sweet Tarts. It's in fruit cocktails, strawberry milk. Yoo-hoo, do you drink this? Red 3 is in sausages, bacon bits, ice pops, puddings, frostings, and cake decorating gels. I'm telling you guys, this stuff is so dangerous, and we're finally uncovering it, but they've been allowing people for years to eat this stuff. And why do you think so many people got issues and stuff? It is so bad what the FDA has allowed. Thank you so much, Country79, for gifting 5 TrueLife News memberships. And Karen K for the super chat. Thank you for all you do. I love it, guys. Thank y'all so much for your support. Y'all show Karen K and Country79 some love in the chat. Let me know your thoughts on this, guys, because this is why RFK needs to be in his position.
Under the FFDCA, which is the law that we implement, any chemical that is shown to be carcinogenic in animals or humans, or should I say humans or animals, cannot be authorized by FDA. It's called the Delaney Clause. And so even though we don't believe there is a risk to humans under the Delaney Clause of the FFDCA, red dye, because it is known to cause cancer in laboratory animals should not be authorized. And so that is what has been challenged FDA for many years, is how to manage around the Delaney clause, where you have a scenario where, although there may be cancer evidence in animals, there is also evidence that is not harmful to humans.
Guys, let me know your thoughts, because I don't agree with that. If it's gonna put cancer in an animal, I don't want that crap in my body either. Look at this. I bring the receipts. Foods with red 3. This red dye 3 right here. Let me see if I can zoom in for you a little bit. There you go. Like I said, fruit cocktails, candy corns, protein shakes, ice pops, sausages, lollipops, puddings, vegetarian meats. Guys, I'm telling you, we need a revolution in this country. Not just with the laws and all the stupid money spending and all the wasteful government spending, but we need it in our government agencies of these unelected bureaucrats at the FDA and all these other places. We need a clean house, protect American people, because guess what? Red 3, all these other ones, it's all banned in UK. It's all banned in the UK. Watch this. Look, right here, bring the receipts. Red 3 is also known as erythrocin. Yeah, is banned in the UK. You can't make this crap up. What the heck are they trying to do to us? What's going on? We need the truth, and that's what RFK has gone out to said he's going to bring. Guys, I want to bring you the truth from every aspect, guys, not just the news, but I want to everything that's breaking news and what's going on in Congress. I want you to be informed about, because for so long, American people had no idea that this stuff was happening until now. And that's what I want to make sure that we bring the truth to you. I thank y'all so much, guys. I just love y'all so much, being able to serve y'all every day with the top news. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And if you haven't, hit the thumbs up, like button already. Please do so, guys. It really helps to grow the channel. It's free, and it really helps out so much. And thank you to all of our members of the channel. Thank y'all so much for your support. If you want to be a member of the True Life News fam, the link is in the description to join. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. Lily O'Brien, B1 Sly One, Christine Engler, Joe DeVito, Country 79, Karen K. Y'all show them some love in the chat. I hope you got value out of this show, guys. Remember, Monday through Friday, we do 2 shows a day. And then on Saturdays, we do one. One on Saturday, one on Sunday. But just want to say thank y'all so much for your support. I feel like I'm feeling so energized because we are truly moving in the right direction and people are getting the truth. We want to make America great again. We want to make America healthy again. And we want to make America financially successful again. Get away from all this stupid national debt. Love you all. Thank you for your support. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.